What happens when a young black atheist and an old white Christian get together for a quick chat? A mutually respectful and very deep conversation happens, that's what. This week, my friend Jonah Elam joins me for a quick chat, and we get into some really deep stuff. I met Jonah a couple of years back. He was and still is good friends with my son. And since that time, I've been able to actually help him get on stage to do some stand-up comedy for his first time and fulfill that dream. And even more importantly than that, I've watched him grow into a great young man. I hope you enjoy the episode. I know I deeply enjoyed the conversation. Welcome to a quick chat with the unemployed alcoholic. Who am I talking to?
This is Jonah Elam.
Well, hey, Jonah. Who is Jonah Elam?
That's a good question. What is the most pretentious thing I could say? I'm a student of life, a lover. I like to say that I'm a comedian, although that isn't necessarily true at the moment. I'm a United States Marine, but not for much longer, thank God. I don't know. I'm still kind of figuring all that out.
You said a student of life?
Yeah, student of life. I thought that sounded good.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Especially recently, I've learned a lot of things about myself that I didn't necessarily know before. I've sort of come to terms with a lot of things I couldn't accept about myself before that I'm doing a lot better with now.
Come to terms with it?
Yeah, I don't know if that's the best way to put it. I've developed an interest in a lot of things that I didn't necessarily see myself having an interest in before, whether it was because of social pressures, family pressures, whatever it is.
Like what?
So comedy's a big one. You sort of inspired me to get into stand-up comedy. It was something that I'd wanted to do for a long time that I never really saw as a possibility. But after seeing you do it, someone who lived their life, they'd had this successful career while also going through many trials and tribulations of your own. And at the end of the day, you still found a way to just go out on a stage and make people laugh. I thought that was so inspiring. And you actually helped me get to my first show, get up on a stage for the first time. And I have terrible stage fright. I've had terrible stage fright my entire life. I get real anxious, palms get sweaty, arms spaghetti. It was hard to get up on a stage for the first time, but it's something that I genuinely love doing and something that I can't wait to do more. Right now, there's a lot going on in the world that is not necessarily bigger than that, but it makes those things harder. It's harder to find things funny in life right now.
Yeah.
And that could really go for any time, I suppose, but I truly believe this is one of the most pivotal years of my entire lifetime.
Pivotal, huh?
Yeah, pivotal. I feel like there's a lot of big changes coming in the world. I hate like conspiracy stuff, but it's hard to escape it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that uncertainty sounds like that is kind of difficult for you.
Yeah, absolutely. More than anything in my life right now is just like I just want stability. I've been in the Marine Corps for 5 years nearly, and I'm coming to the end of my time here. Next month I'll be out and done with it, and my service will be up. And that's nerve-wracking. That's really scary. Basically, I was this high school kid who'd never really had a job before. I did some things here and there over summers or whatever, but never really had a job, into a full-blown career as a Marine, a military man.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst part about it, or the scariest part about it to me, is just I found out that this is not where I want to be at all. This is not a place where I'm ever really comfortable, which I guess that sort of comes with the job, right? The military isn't there to make you comfortable.
So it sounds like coming right out of high school, you made what ended up being more of a commitment than you initially thought. And now you're nearing the end of something that in some ways it sounds like you kind of regret.
So there's a good saying about that I've said my whole career. I love Marines, but I hate the Marine Corps. The people around me, the people that I've been with for these last few years, they've made it all totally worth it. I would do it again if I had to, solely because of the relationships that's fostered for me.
Sounds like those relationships are really important to you.
Yes, absolutely. When they talk about it being a brotherhood, if you've never served, you can't begin to understand it. It's that close. There are people that I know from the military or throughout my military career that I'm closer with than some family members.
Hmm.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah, so those relationships, it sounds like, has made it worthwhile, but the overall experience there is something that maybe you didn't enjoy as much.
Um, I think didn't enjoy would be perfect, but I would be I would be remiss if I said that I didn't appreciate it because,
Okay.
as I've said, it helped me learn a lot of things about myself as well, and it helped me mature, helped me grow up.
I'll tell you, Jonah, when I hear you say that, what it strikes me as is a mature person, somebody who has gone through something that might not have been exactly how you dreamt it, might not have been exactly what you were looking for, but it sounds like you can still see the benefits that have come out of it. Some incredible relationships that you've built, a brotherhood, as you discuss, and then also some of the growth.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely appreciate what the military has done for me in terms of what it's taught me. Maybe not so much practical skills, but like I said, taught me about myself. I realize that this is not something that I want to do. I'm not the type of person who's wired to follow orders and never question anything. That's that student of life for you. I love learning. I love asking questions.
What was life like before the military?
It's hard to really nail that down. I'm from a small town in Michigan, which earlier on in my life, I think I found it harder there than towards the end, towards like my high school years. I never really saw anyone quite like me that I could interact with. As in, I'm a person of color, right? I'm a black guy,
Hmm.
and where we were from, or where I was from, there just weren't many black people.
That must have been really tough to kind of find your identity through that.
It was, especially, I my father died at a pretty young age as well, so having a male figure around was a real problem. I now have my stepdad, and he's a great guy. I love him, but even that, sometimes there's not quite the connection. I ended up fostering a lot of connections with my male teachers.
Hmm.
In fact, even now, I think from 7th through 12th grade, I'm friends with every male teacher that I had for throughout those years on Facebook because I would always get that advice from them, or whatever. I had a connection with them.
Sounds like a male role model is something that you were really seeking in high school.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Which was kind of unnecessary. I see now, right? Like I said, I have my stepdad. He's still in the picture, and he's a great guy. But to me, he was sort of always like a replacement. You know what I mean? He was never the father that I was meant to have, which is kind of horrible to say. And I do love him. I'd do anything for him. But uh, growing up, I viewed it a lot differently.
Would you say you were a little rebellious towards him?
Oh, absolutely. We would we would get into it constantly. Not anything, physical or anything like that. Like I said, he's a fantastic man. But man, was I a smart ass to everyone around me. Even now, I have a little bit of that at least, but I think I was much worse as a kid.
Yeah, a quick wit can cut sometimes.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's one of those things that when you're younger it gets you in trouble, but now I pride myself on it, especially in comedy. Having quick wit, I think, can really help.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. You said that you found a male role model in some of your teachers.
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, I would get into it a lot with, my stepdad. So I never really saw him as that male role model growing up. So I would seek out male teachers. They always connected with me on a deeper level, I guess. And even now, there's quite a few of them that I still keep in contact with.
And can you think of any role models of color in your early life?
Isn't that what's crazy? Is that the area that I grew up in, I remember one black teacher. Apart from him, I can't remember any, which is rough growing up in that environment, especially it wasn't the most racially accepting town in the world.
How did you deal with that?
Uh, Anger? No. Um, I didn't really. I would sort of just laugh those things off. I wouldn't care about them because what am I supposed to do? Get mad and then just be the black kid who got mad at a racist joke?
So it sounds like anger might have been the root thing that was going on, but you didn't know how to safely express that.
Yeah, I think that's very fair.
That sounds really difficult.
Yeah, It definitely was. And I think part of that anger is what sort of drove me away. It drove me to the military. I had something to prove. I needed a real purpose in my life, right? So I went somewhere where I thought I would be given that purpose, and I was given a purpose. It just wasn't one that I necessarily liked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm nearly done with it now, past it. Excited to start on the new chapter of my life. Gonna really try to get back in the comedy thing. I'm gonna be going to college.
Do you have any African American role models in your life now?
I'll always have family. So uh, probably the biggest role model to me would be my sister Naja. She's my older sister, and I've always looked up to her. She's kind of been the black sheep of the family. She's the wild child. She's out there. But more than anything, what always impressed me with her is her resiliency. She can make a mistake, and she will never let that mistake be what defines her.
That's an interesting choice of words there. She won't let a mistake define her.
Yeah, because everyone's going to have their failures in life, but I guess it's the old Rocky quote, how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, that sort of thing. She has that in spades, and it was always so incredibly impressive to me.
Yeah, that kind of internal strength or internal fortitude to take a hit and keep on going.
Yeah, because I'm not anyone to really take anything lying down, but I think I would let more slide than she does, or I'm much quicker to give up than she is. So being able to look to her and communicate with her whenever I'm running into into any problem in life, really, has always been helpful.
Yeah. Well, Jonah, when I hear you talk, to be perfectly transparent, I hear uncertainty and perhaps a little bit of fear in your voice. It sounds like you've been through a lot. It sounds like you've had a bit of a struggle when it comes to who you are. But I'll share with you, Jonah. I think you're an incredible person. I've watched the friendship develop with you and my son, and you have been a good friend to him. You guys have a genuine relationship, a strong bond. And that's incredible. And it's very rare nowadays. And you're a good person, Jonah. You're someone who set out to serve your country. You're someone who is resilient. You're someone who's run into a situation that's different than what it has seemed. It's different than what you were looking for. But you've kept your head down in the wind and pushed through and discovered some incredible things about yourself during the journey and formed some incredible relationships. That's awesome, Jonah. I think one thing looking forward that I would just hope and pray for you is that you would have some strong male role models in your life. I know you said that you've got male role models. You've got role models of color in your life. You've got family. But I'll tell you, I have a wide range of people that are role models, that are mentors. I have people that disciple me. I have people that have a vested interest in my success and my growth. And I hope and pray that you will find that, Jonah, and have that, not one or two relationships, but 10. And there's afterwards we can chat a little bit more because there's two people that I'd like to connect you with that you would really enjoy talking with. But yeah, Jonah, you're a person who's young and you're finding out who you are. And you're going through this struggle that we all are, not knowing what's coming up and what's next. But I think it's going to be good things for you, Jonah. I think you've been through hard stuff, and you'll continue to go through some hard stuff, but you will prevail, my friend.
Well, thank you very much. That's gonna make me cry over here.
That's my whole goal. I haven't had anybody cry.
Yeah,
yet.
you haven't broken anyone yet. Hope not one. Not today.
Not today, huh? Well, we've got a whole nother half. In fact, why don't we take a quick break right now? And when we come back, I really want to hear about 3 things. One, I want to hear about one thing that's going well in your life. 2, I want to hear about one thing that you're struggling with. And then 3, I want to hear you cry.
Can't wait.
All right. Well, we'll be right back with more from Jonah. Welcome back to a quick chat with the unemployed alcoholic. I am here with my friend Jonah Elam, and we are chatting a little bit about who he is. Thank you, Jonah, so much for sharing a little bit about who you are. What's one thing that's going well in your life right now?
Well, as I said previously, I'm about to get out of the Marine Corps. Although it sounded scary, it's something that I'm absolutely looking forward to. There's nothing I value more in life right now than freedom and stability. And, my military service has set me up with the infrastructure to get out and experience both of those things.
Yeah, well, that's incredible. This is an exciting time for you.
Yeah, absolutely. This is it. I feel like I finally get to go and be an adult, which is a weird thing to say at 23 years old, but it's how my life is right now, and I'm loving it. It's going to give me more free time. I'll be able to pursue college, which is something I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, that's the world is your oyster. You've got a blank canvas in front of you, and you can craft it however you want. College, where are you going?
Colorado State University.
All right, congrats on that. That's a great school.
Thank you.
And what will you be studying?
I'm going into education. I'm obtaining my bachelor's and pursuing a career as a teacher.
So do you think that there's a connection between the teachers that were your role models growing up and you desiring to be a teacher?
Oh, absolutely. I've been asked this before, and yeah, I mean, I guess it's just something that I couldn't escape if I wanted to. I don't know if there's necessarily such a thing as fate, but I do truly feel like it's what I'm meant to be doing in my life. Maybe that just comes from my experiences. I had those role models that I clung to, and hopefully I can be that for someone in the future, right?
Yeah, you've witnessed firsthand the impact that somebody can have when they show an interest and pour into a young person by being a teacher. That's incredible, and it doesn't surprise me that you would feel a draw to that.
I guess it really does come from my own experiences. And while I don't like to present it as altruistic or anything,
I'd say altruistic is a very good word to describe it. You've received value from those relationships and from those role models, and you want to pay that forward. I think that you can feel comfortable saying that at least part of that desire to go down that road is very much based on you wanting to help people.
I sure hope that's true. And I think it is. I think that I could be that friend that a student needs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I do.
Obviously, aside from that, I finally get to really put focus on comedy, which is something that I know you've been doing for a little while now. You helped me kind of get into it in the first place. And it's something that I've always wanted to really pour my heart and soul into. So just having the freedom to experience that fully and, just dive in.
Yeah, comedy is very exciting, and actually, in a lot of ways, I think comedy or the challenges in doing comedy mirror the challenges that we all experience just in life in general. I think there is a stage fright, or in real life, there's a fear of failure that we all experience, and being able to address that and overcome it and move forward in a way that adds value to the people around. That's an important thing for all of us to find. And I think you'll find that through stand-up comedy and even more so in the other things that you're pursuing in your friendships, in your military relationships, and and of course in your career that you're pursuing in teaching and ultimately what's mentorship.
Hmm.
But yeah, you'll enjoy getting up on stage and doing some comedy once it's legal to do so, right?
Yeah, that's another thing. It's all crazy right now, but even that, even the crazy, I'm down with it.
Yeah,
I'm ready for it to happen.
yeah, it is an uncertain time right now for sure.
And that's what they keep saying, uncertain time. I'm getting tired of that.
Yeah, yeah. And this is a very difficult time to have uncertain times, especially for you. You know, you've gone through high school, you've made it through that. You served for 5 years in the military, coming up to the end of that, and you know the world is your oyster, but the world is upside down.
Yeah, even that, I'm trying to put a positive spin on it. Everything might be a little bit crazy right now. I can deal with that. I've done crazy before, and
Yeah, I think you just nailed it right there. I can deal with that. I think people in general. I think you specifically. You're resilient. You're strong. You're able to come into an uneasy situation and find the good in it. And I think you'll do well. Boy, it really just comes back to that sense of identity and that sense of mentorship, continuing to figure out who you are. I know for me, finding identity was really important. When I finally addressed a problem of alcoholism in my life, I struggled big time with identity
mhm.
because who I was when I was drinking was very much who I was, period. And then to take that away rocked my identity. And then at the same time, I left a good job and really had a very difficult time finding anything else. So my career, my profession, that was gone as well. So the identity that I held in that went away. It was a very difficult time trying to figure out who I am. I feel like I've got a good grasp of who I am now. While my brand is the unemployed alcoholic, the meaning behind that of my mission to help people laugh while highlighting recovery and faith, being able to know that I'm all in on that identity and the components of it. I want to help people. I want to help people laugh. And I want to do that while I'm highlighting recovery, which is a very important part of my identity and my story. And
Okay.
also while I'm highlighting faith. And faith, man, Jonah, where do you stand with faith?
Um, it's funny. I grew up obviously around you and your son, um, and you guys always did your whole religious thing. My whole family, most of them, very religious. Uh, at least for the past few years, I've been an atheist. So I can appreciate spiritualism, or spirituality. I think that there's some merit to that. There are certainly things in the world that I can't really begin to understand, or certain things that give you a feeling like no other. But I am an atheist.
Well, Jonah, I understand and I can respect that. I have several friends that are atheists. And while, while Jesus is the core of my belief system and who I am as a person, I can still be friends with and respect people that have different views than that. So I understand and I can appreciate that. It's interesting though when it comes down to the core question. Uh, as I've talked with some of my other friends that are atheists, or identify themselves as atheists,
Hmm.
it comes down to a question of order or disorder, randomness or intent, and uh, and it's funny because we can look at kind of the same body of evidence. We can look at the same things around in this world, in this universe. And whereas I see intent and I see design and I see intentionality, they see a randomness
Chaos. Yeah.
and chaos. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get that. I mean, again, when I think of people, especially, we are so complex. We are so unique. We're so incredible. that, I personally absolutely see design. I see that we are, in my opinion, created, modeled after the God that created the whole universe.
It's interesting, and I it's definitely something that I like discussing with people around me because I mean that really is the question in the end, isn't it?
Well, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit there.
Oh, okay. Now it's interesting.
Right, right. Well, because it's not the question in the end; it's the question immediately. Like, as far as I can see, Jonah, my God, Jesus, died on the cross to forgive all the sins for all people. So whether that's you, an atheist, or me, a Christ follower, our sins, our wrongs have been forgiven. We've been given the opportunity to be reconciled with God. The difference is in the now. We have a decision to make as far as if that's going to impact our life now, whether we're going to accept that, not accept it as in if we don't accept it, it never happened, but accept it as in, man, there is power in forgiveness. There is power in reconciliation. There is power
Mhm.
in these things. And to accept that gift, it then allows us in the now to live a different life.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference is that I don't have to attribute that to a god. I just want to be a good person because I live in the world with all these other people, and I have no right to make them feel any worse.
Well, on that, we agree.
All right.
Yeah, I think we do live in a world full of people, and we don't have any right to condemn other people.
Mhm.
Well, that took a little bit different turn than I thought, but
Yeah, it got away from the what's going well and into let's discuss God, and I love that.
yeah, well, and again, I mean that's the whole point of this quick chat. I never know quite where these conversations are going to go, and that is certainly a cornerstone of my life is faith. And given the opportunity to chat about that, I do want to chat about that in a non-insulting and non-threatening way.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so I appreciate the opportunity to talk about that, Jonah.
I'm always open to talk about it.
So to flip things around a little bit, what's something you're struggling with, Jonah?
I guess right now, one of the biggest things is just the fear and that uncertainty that comes with my life sort of moving on. I'm taking this next step, and that's scary for me, obviously. But even more than that, I've found myself sort of distancing, not just socially distancing, but just generally distancing myself, emotionally distancing myself from people around me. And I don't know if that's because I just think it might make things easier on me in the now, if there's a bigger overarching reason. I'm really not sure. I called my mom a week ago and talked to her, and she always yells at me. She doesn't yell, but she always gets upset and goes, "Oh, you need to call more." And I always tell her the same, "Oh yeah, I'll try to call more." And then I don't call for a month, 2 months, whatever it may be. And I feel bad about that, but it's only once I make the call that I feel bad about that. It's never something that I'm actively feeling bad about until I'm at that moment. I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know why I'm creating this distance, and I don't necessarily want to.
Well, I know, Jonah, that I have used isolation and distancing as a defense mechanism. When I've got a wound that's deep down, I've used isolation and the chance to get away from the people that might be able to touch that as a defense mechanism. Incidentally, humor is also a defense mechanism.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you talked about your childhood and being the only person of color around, and how anger was a response, but the way that translated was laughing at a racist joke.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something I've known about myself for a long time, obviously, is well, not only am I one of the funniest people I've ever met, but
Very nice, very nice.
yeah, I absolutely do use humor as a defense mechanism, something that I'm not unaware of. And I don't necessarily try to prevent that. I think using humor to soften the blow of a lot of things isn't inherently bad.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, obviously, look at what I do.
Yeah, yeah.
I call upon the power of humor quite regularly. It does give you permission to approach some taboo topics. There's a lot of power in there. But I also have to keep a very, very close eye to make sure that I'm not distancing and I'm not isolating through humor. If somebody gets a little too close to the bone on something, I'm not deflecting with a joke. There's an incredible danger that will be used to deflect anything around, and consequently, we never get to the root heart of the problem. Now, you had mentioned also that you use the terms fear and uncertainty.
Yeah, I'm in a very specific situation. Everyone else that I know, they've made their mark. They had their plot set out. I just have to go and find mine now, you know? It's been stressful. It's been stressful,
Yeah,
to say the least.
yeah. This is difficult. Again, being at the phase in life that you're at, I imagine it's even more difficult. You used the term about going into the military that you were out to prove something. It sounds from that last statement that you're still kind of out to prove something. Like you need to make that mark. You need to show that value. Is that fair to say?
You know, it's yes. I think that's very fair, even if it's not necessarily something I want to accept. And maybe it's because, I like to believe that everyone thinks this way. Everyone thinks they're the hero of their own story. But for as long as I can remember, I've truly felt like I'm destined for something great. Problem is, I don't know where to find that greatness. Maybe the greatness has to find me, you know. It's yeah, so it's hard. It's hard to, pretty much every day feel like I'm not living up to whatever potential I've been told I have.
Not living up to the potential you've been told you've had?
Yeah. I feel like throughout, you know, my entire life, it's something I've heard is that, oh, he's so gifted, but he just doesn't apply himself. It's so after a lifetime of hearing that, now I find myself constantly moving from one thing to the next, trying to find that real greatness that I know is hidden away somewhere.
I'm going to share with you something that I learned through the recovery process, and it's the serenity prayer. And it says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That right there seems like it applies very much to what you're saying. When you think back on your past, you're thinking back with a shame, with a guilt, with a regret that you've missed some opportunity, that you haven't lived up to your potential, that you haven't done what you need to do. The things in our past, good, bad, or indifferent, they 100% of the time fall into the category of things that we cannot control. There's nothing we can do about what is in our past. And therefore, we need the serenity to accept those things and move on. And when we do that, then that will open up the courage. That'll empower us the courage to change the things that we can. And those are the things that are happening right now in this moment. Those are the things that are here and now. Jonah, you are destined for great things, but it's not the things of the past. It's not even the things of the future. You are destined for great things right now. Me and you having this conversation, you being open and transparent, you giving permission to share this deep, intimate conversation with listeners that you don't even know. That's huge. That is your potential. That's your potential to connect with people, add value to people, build relationships.
Yeah, you're really working for those tears now, huh?
I want
that was very
I
kind of
I
you,
want
honestly.
yeah.
Thank you. I do
I
appreciate
want
that.
you to know how much value you have. You are an incredibly valuable person. And the reason I can say that to you is because I've looked myself in the mirror and said that to me. And the reason I can look at myself in the mirror and say that to me is because I know that my past has been forgiven. I know that I'm modeled after, I'm made in the image of my God. And because of what Christ did for me, I am forgiven. I have a calling. I'm destined for greatness, and I'm doing it. Great things are happening. And man, that sense of purpose, that sense of calling, that sense of greatness, it's the best feeling in the world.
I'm sorry. I really do not know how to respond to that. I mean, that's wonderful, honestly. I truly hope that I find that. I don't feel like I found that yet, but honestly, you really are like an inspiration. And speaking on role models again, uh, you, who I did not name, are so obviously one of my role models. You are doing what I've dreamt of doing for so long, and I mean, it seems like from the outsider perspective, it was sort of just something you did on a whim. You just decided I'm gonna do comedy one day, and then you did it. That's incredible.
Thanks, Jonah. That truly means a lot to me to hear that, because I don't know if what I'm doing looks silly, purposeful, or admirable, or any. I just don't know how it looks. So I appreciate that validation. I appreciate that feedback, that you look at what I got going on, and there's something attractive about it. There's something that seems valuable about it.
Huh. Yeah, no, I mean, I where am I trying to go with this? I Yeah, I really respect what you do, obviously. I want to be able to do it one day. I mean, just getting this, just being given this opportunity to me is so awesome. This is one of the coolest things I've ever done.
Well, you have been an incredible guest on this, and not podcast related, not anything like that. I would really like to connect on a regular basis, whether that's once every couple weeks or so, and just touch base, because I think having community around us is so very important to us going through this journey that we're all going through successfully. Having people in our corner is important. And Jonah, I am in your corner, my friend. I think you are great. I think great things are happening. I think this is an exciting time coming up for you. I think you're going to continue to learn more and more about yourself. I think you're going to learn more about your strengths. You're going to have opportunities that you can't even imagine quite yet, but they're coming. Good things are going to happen for you, my friend.
I certainly hope so.
If people want to book you on an open mic in Colorado, or if people want to get a hold of you for any reason, how can they reach you, Jonah?
You could find me on my website, moistgrandmas.com.
Oh
Uh,
my goodness. uh,
you'll find all my contact information right on
okay,
there.
I'm sorry. You might have to spell that out, because if somebody's trying to find you there, I feel like there's a lot of typos that could end up putting them somewhere where they don't want to be.
Yeah, of course. That's Moist Grandmas. MoistGrandmas.com.
All right. So they can reach you there. Good.
Please don't.
Please.
But they can't. but they can.
Good deal. Good deal. Yeah. Well, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you, Jonah, for hanging around and having a quick chat.
Thank you. Yeah, this has been awesome.
Yeah. Well, I am Aaron, the unemployed alcoholic, and if you ever want to reach me, the best place to do so is definitely my website, which is not moistgrandmas.com. It is theunemployedalcoholic.com. There's a whole bunch of stuff, other episodes of this podcast, Clean Comedy Time podcast. There's videos on there. There's just a ton of stuff. Go check that out if you would. And while you're at it, make sure you leave a review about this podcast and like and share and all that other good stuff. It's important. It makes a difference on how many people see this stuff. So, hey, thank you for being you, and have a great day.
You're really working for the tears now.